I had a chance to review it. I also had an opportunity to go and see Mayor Harry Kim last week or a week prior when word got out that it was going to be publicly released, and I, in concept, support the idea of changing the management of Mauna Kea. I always have and been convinced that changing the management of Mauna Kea is something that we clearly needed to do. And so, in concept, I support his idea to do that and offered my support on at least from the legislative branch and working together with him.
Did he express interest in the work that you had accomplished 2 years ago?
I think that probably played into a lot of the research and a lot of the work that he did. But I think he needed time to come up with some of his own ideas, and was able to use that maybe as a model or a tool for some of the thoughts that he had.
I get the impression the regents are going to want to direct this effort. Do you get that same impression?
I don't think the regents should direct that effort. I think who should direct the effort, it should be the governor, Mayor Harry Kim, the state legislature, is who should direct any future management of Mauna Kea, working in concert with the community. And going out to the community to have extensive community conversations on what the future of Mauna Kea should look like. It should come from the people. The people should clearly provide their input and have a voice at the table in what management of Mauna Kea should look like.
So now the $1.4 billion question is this going to make a difference in your opinion?
For the 30-meter telescope, I think it's an irrelevant question. I think with or without 30-meter, we need to change the management of Mauna Kea. And what does the future of Mauna Kea look like? What does the future of astronomy look like on Mauna Kea? I think if 30-meter was and should be willing to give the state of Hawaii and the community the opportunity to shape that future, then we need time to do that. This is not something that you can solve in a few months. I think it needs extensive community conversations. Mayor Kim's plan is aspirational, but the devil's in the details, and we need the details. And that's not something that was in his plan. That's something that's going to take a lot of time and effort, a lot of community consultations. You can look at what many years ago was done to the Kahele Island Reserve Commission and how those community consultations helped form the management structure of Kahele that exists today. We studied that extensively 2 years ago and used that as a model of how we can look at a future management model for Mauna Kea. But that's what it's going to entail. Something like this should and I imagine will consume the governor's time, the mayor's time, and the community's time. And we have to put a lot of time and effort into it. So, I think right now we need to de-escalate the situation. I think if you want people to be active participants in that conversation, you need to give them a reason to want to come. And the imminent mobilization of construction equipment going to the summit, the potential threat of a law enforcement sweep at the Mauna Kea Access Road doesn't help at all in getting people to want to come to the table and have meaningful conversations. So that would be the first step that I think needs to be done. We've seen Mayor Kim's plan. We need to implement a moratorium. We need to work with the legislature as we approach the 2020 legislative session. And we need to start going out to the community and have meaningful, in-depth conversations, one-on-one conversations with everyone on what the future of Mauna Kea should look like. This is just an initial first step. But it's a first step in the right direction, which many have been calling for a long time, is to restructure the management of Mauna Kea. I really believe that the majority of the community throughout Hawaii has lost trust, has lost faith, and has just seen promises after promises broken, which is why we see what we have today on Mauna Kea, and that needs to change.
So you're taking an optimistic view of this
it's going to require a lot of hard work. Again, it's aspirational, right? I mean, really, the meat of his proposal, all of us know the history. I don't need to be re-educated on history. I don't need to be re-educated on certain specific details of the Think Fund and 30 meters rent structure and decommission of telescopes. We know all that. What's the future of Mauna Kea going to look like in terms of management? Who's going to be seated at the table? Who's going to have a voice? What role do Native Hawaiians play? What role does the Hawaii Island community play? That's the details, and it's going to require a lot of hard work. As somebody who attempted to solve this issue almost 2 years ago, I know how much hard work it requires. And we'll see if Governor Ige and the mayor And the legislature is willing to put in a time and effort to address what I look at is one of the most divisive issues that has existed in this state's history that's happening right now.